Kenya, and Mr. Daniel Juma, who is Executive Director, Global Peace Foundation. Thank you so much for sticking around. All right, so Ismail, before we went for break, Daniel was speaking about investors and the way they are influenced by the way a country is. And as we are looking, last week we saw some reports that some investors are now just looking out of Kenya. They're not really looking within. And the ones that we have within are also looking at our neighboring countries. There are reports on that. So when you look at how this is affecting the economy going forward, what do you think about it?
Of course, earlier you spoke, and my colleague spoke, made responses on peace and as a catalyst for development and business growth. You know, when I mentioned that we are in a democracy, and in a democracy, as long as people have the space to express themselves like we have seen, we are fine. No country is without or is devoid of challenges. And therefore, much as people will be competing, business and investors look at a number of things. One of them is peace. And in terms of peace, I think Kenya does very well. Particularly given that it is in a region that is tumultuous all around. You go to the north of Kenya, Ethiopia, Sudan. Sudan is the latest, which is broken down. Ethiopia is challenging with conflicts in the regions of Ethiopia. Somalia is unresolved yet, completely not back on its feet. And DRC, Congo. And if you look at the entire spectrum of spaces, countries, Kenya enjoys reasonably relative peace, and that's an important ingredient in attracting and retaining business. The second thing is Kenya is a hub with very good infrastructure for business. So if you are located in Kenya, you are able to do business in the East Africa region.
Yes.
Because you have all the infrastructure, you have highly skilled manpower, you have technology, you have many things that many countries don't have.
Okay.
And besides, there is a good population, a sizable population, 50 million people to start with. So these are, and the economy is also reliant on laws and legislation, and we have good laws and a good court system.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you for that. And Daniel, let me bring you in. Of course, now the week that we are in is a week full of protests, and tomorrow is going to be the grand of all the protests. And of course, we are looking at a convention on peace that is happening, of course, within the country as well. So when you look at the two, because you are hosting that as well tomorrow, and we have the demonstrations going on tomorrow, what do you think about it? How will it affect this particular event?
I think it's just a coincidence because we started planning about this conference last year.
Yes.
So it's just a coincidence, and this conference is not a Kenyan conference. It's a global conference, an African conference. Kenya is just providing the venue, and you already have delegates flying in. Most have flown in from different parts of Africa, coming into this country. And we definitely, I know what's happening in Kenya now. Those are local issues, and they need to be managed locally. And I'm sure that the Kenyan people, led by the Kenyan government, has the capacity to manage those issues.
Okay.
And they should manage them peacefully. And I really would like to really call upon our people, our young people, to welcome the visitors that are coming. We have an opportunity to demonstrate to the international community that we are a mature democracy, that we can be able to disagree on issues. We never have to be unanimous in everything that we do, but we do them responsibly, we do them peacefully, and so I really want to encourage our democracy, the beauty of our democracy, that it shouldn't interfere with this conference that we have planned for a long, long time. And, we have very good faith in our people, in our youth, that even the Article 37, of course, gives them the right to, to demonstrate and to be able to express themselves. And also we call upon also the administration, to listen to them and find a way of accommodating some of those issues that they're addressing. And, within the conference, we have a youth track, and some of these issues will be addressed because this conference is talking about empowering one family under God, empowering the Africa, Renaissance as a global catalyst, for freedom, peace, and sustainable development. So this conference comes at the right time where some of those issues that are even being raised, these are youth issues. We have to be able to manage those issues. But I really want to call upon our people. Let's welcome our visitors. Let's maintain peace even as we are able to address the issues that we feel are important.
All right, thank you for that. And Ismail, let me bring you in and look at the threat of violent extremism, which evolved, of course, in recent years in the northeast and also southeast parts of Kenya, and how this is affecting development even going forward. From where you sit, what is the issue and what is not being addressed? Because we are seeing this violent extremism going on, and it has always been there in recent years, and of course, even as we are right now. So when we look at the effect that this has on development going forward, what do you think?
First of all, it's important, and I'm sure you and our viewers also understand that violent extremism, as it is not homegrown.
Yes.
It's global franchise which has been exported to other countries with people who have a scheme that they want to execute for whatever reasons. And that they look at the soft bellies of nations, and when you have certain discontents, it becomes certain populations become vulnerable in certain areas. For instance, the youth unemployment is fodder, because once youth remain unemployed, not just unemployed but not being engaged, and they do not find basic things. Youth must be engaged productively. There are enablers, for example, in that region that you or those regions. For example, other than employment opportunity and the economics and poverty, which are the key riders of this, you also have other problems of not being able to get national IDs, for example.
Yes.
So therefore you can travel, and therefore you can move around. And in an emergency, a region that has suffered some continuing emergency, these are some of the factors that contribute. It has affected the region well, a lot, particularly northeastern and some of those northern Kenya regions. For example, the education sector, where you basically at one point it was shutting down because non-local teachers, because the global franchise of terror was focusing on our differences in terms of faith and other diversities. So focusing on teachers who are not local and other personnel, health personnel, particularly the teaching community, what happens? And the North has not been able to generate enough human capital. Okay, so you can see what happened in Garissa University. But we are recovering slowly. You saw the president the other day in Garissa University, and Garissa University can be a center of excellence to deal with cohesion, to deal with issues of radicalization and peace. And I think it is taking that niche very seriously.
Okay. Thank you for that, and mentioning what this is really, really contributing to, and of course the young people. And now, Daniel, speaking about the young people, of course the young people are coming out saying, okay, this is not working for us. Now we want this to happen. We want things to change. Is this the best way forward?
Africa is the youngest continent in the world. They say more than 70% of the population of Africa are youth. So basically, and these are our children. They're basically our children. Usually the best way would have been if Parliament was able to, and that's why we have public participation.
Yes.
Whenever we have these things like finance bill. If Parliament was able to listen to the people who elected them, and they can be able to educate these issues and take those views into that, what makes that, that outcome.
Okay.
So that would be the best way, because then this is the job we are paying the MPs to do. This is their job, We don't need, our young people should be, of course, busy doing other things, entrepreneurship, going to school and all that. But you see, when they have to come out into the street, it means somebody in Parliament is not listening to what the people elected them are doing. And then it's spilling out into where it shouldn't be. And so this is not the best way. The best way would have been, can those members of Parliament listen to what these people are saying and solve those issues. That's why, and even we have courts. That's why we even have courts, so that if I'm not happy with him or with you, I don't need to come and deal with you physically. I go to court, right?
Yes.
So the law is very, very clear about how this issue should be addressed without them spilling into the street. And this is the reason why, even whenever we have elections, we have been saying that problem with elections should not be adjudicated in the streets. Let them go to where they should be, IBC and the Supreme Court.
Okay.
And leave the people out of it, because the people, they just vote, and they need the people that we elect to do their job. So, but the fact that when the people who are elected are not doing their job well, then it spills into the street. That is my view on that. I am very, very hopeful that, and this, of course, the youth have a right to be able to express themselves.
Yes.
But I'm sure that the people are listening. The president yesterday said he will talk to the youth. And the other day also, some of the things that were contentious were removed. I am very, very positive. The president is a good person. He will listen. And by the end of the day, this president will side with the youth of Kenya.
Okay. Yeah. Ismail, now that we are about to wrap this up, I would like you to just give me your final comments, and then we finish with Daniel. So, Ismail, when you look at the long-term solutions into these particular problems like this, because, of course, as we are continue with the years and the months are going on, things like this will be happening going forward. So, what do you think are the long-term solutions when you look at the way the younger population, the young generation is being addressed or is being handled at this time, and what are some of the long-term solutions that you think can be brought in?
I think this is a good time to learn. Every time this is a good learning curve. For example, there are things about this youth actions which we should take forward in terms of lessons on how to engage. We have a vibrant youth, we have educated youth, we have an increasing population, and youth that are enlightened and aware and able to engage in things. So we should not take them as people who don't matter in the scheme of things, and people who need to be planned for. They need to be planned with and involved.
Okay.
And for the youth, it's also an opportunity. We have seen youth articulate. We have seen that they have been generally non-violent. They have been peaceful. Their actions have been devoid of the biases and divisions that we see. They are not representing any political sector or community or tribe. They should work on issues like that, but they should also give space. there must be the end game of this. If it is just things which are disorganized and happen like that, you know, you have anarchists, you have other people who can take advantage and infiltrate an otherwise legitimate cause.
Okay. Thank you so much, Ismail, for that. And Daniel, briefly, as we finish, 1 minute as we finish.
Yes, so basically, like he says, there are opportunists who will take advantage of this, and I am calling upon sobriety. I'm calling upon our children, our young people. My children, even at age of 14 and 15, I can't just tell them. They ask questions. They say, but Daddy, why do I need to do this? So yes. This is us. This is our country. And we have to deal with this. I am sure that they are our children. They're asking these questions, and these could be difficult questions. And I know that the leadership has to make difficult decisions. Issues of finances are very, very difficult. And I'm sure that the parliament and the administration will find ways of recalibrating the issues at hand so that everyone is satisfied, we bring everyone on board, and then the nation moves forward. But lastly, I want to call upon Kenyans to welcome the delegates who are coming to the GPLC conference. Tomorrow we'll be planting trees. Plant trees wherever you are. You know, I think by planting a tree, we are planting roots of our unity. And then on the 26th, we will have the opening of the conference. If you can't participate physically, you can participate virtually, and you can be able to raise some of the issues. You can raise them. There are experts who will be able to answer some of those questions that you may have. So thank you so much for having us.
All right, thank you so much. Right there, gentlemen, speaking about how peace is contributing into the economy and its growth. My name is Kelvin Yakundi. Stick around. BUKTN is coming.